Brian, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Excuse me, I've lost my voice due to allergies. Can somebody else do it?
Oh, sure.
Nan?
Yeah, sure. I pledge allegiance to the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nan. Danitza, any call to the public?
Chairman, not at this time.
Okay, we'll go over the call to the public. We're now going to agenda item number 4, discussion items. A, discussion of raffle tickets for, before that, our recorder over here is Ana de la Osa. She's responsible for the insurance benefits and human resources for the city of Nogales. Judith Gerardo is not here because her daughter had a skiing accident in Colorado and she had to go to Colorado. But she said she'd be here for our next meeting. Welcome, Ana. Thank you for helping us.
Her last name again, I'm sorry.
De la Osa.
No,
Ana de la Osa.
no, Judith.
Oh, Judith Gerardo.
Gerardo.
That's the one. Ana takes care of all of the health insurance benefits for the city for all of the employees.
Oh, wow. Good job.
Yeah, she's very competent too. Discussion item A, discussion of raffle tickets for Friends of the Nogales Library. Mr. Delsey.
Yes, I will refer to Marva, who was in charge of the whole project.
Okay, Marva?
Okay, I'm going to just report on the deposits we have so far. We deposited $650 in August, $752 in September, and in November, I've deposited $285 for a total of $1,587. We're still collecting the last of the tickets, and I would like to take the stubs up on December 3rd, or the 2nd, I'm not sure about the date, it's a Thursday. And I know it's a little before, their deadline is the 10th, but I'd like to get all of ours in and go with it then.
Okay.
And we're still a few out, and I'll be collecting those.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank everybody for doing a good job on selling them, because everybody's turned them in. Everyone that's here has turned them in, so
Good.
greatly appreciate it.
Have you concluded, Mar?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, do you have any questions?
None.
Ed?
None.
Jerry?
No.
Nan?
Yes, I didn't get, Marva, I got $650 for August, $752 for September. Did you have an October figure?
No, November the 4th, I put $285.
$285?
That was the last collection.
So the total was what?
$1,587. And that includes the money from the book giveaway at the fair.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's why it's an odd number.
All right. And that concludes that report. All right, let's move on to item B, discussion of 501c3 status of Friends of the Nogales Library. Mr. Delsey.
Yes, I had technical difficulties at home to be able to just go ahead and process over the internet for the 501c3, so I called the IRS and they forwarded the required forms for it. I wanted to make sure that we got the proper forms for the report. They arrived yesterday, so I'm in the process of filling out the report per their instructions.
Okay.
And we're in good shape going from there.
All righty.
Okay.
Brian, do you have any questions for Mr. Delsey?
No, sir.
Thwaites?
No.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Nan?
No.
Okay, we're going to move on to item C, discussion and possible action to approve minutes of October the 13th, 21. I'm going to table that agenda item. There was an error there that Judith thought she was going to be back on Monday to take care of. So what we'll do, we'll table that item for our discussion at our next meeting. Is there any objections? Okay, then we're going to move on to item D, discussion and possible action on amending bylaws of the Nogales, Santa Cruz County Public Library Board of Trustees. Nan?
Yes, we had discussed that there was we needed some clarity when it came to the
process for the Board of Trustees. It was Article 2 of how the trustees are recommended and then approved or not approved by the city and/or county. When I pulled out my copy of the bylaws to make that clarification, I discovered something interesting because I had already gotten the package from Denise with the bylaws, and it looked like the version that I was working from, which I thought was the latest, was a little bit different than the version I got from Denise. And in Denise's version, which I think is the very latest, we do discuss that process on page 2, and that's included in our packet. So forget my copy, my 2 pages here for a moment. Under Article 2, on the second paragraph, it says the Board of Trustees may nominate prospective trustees to be formally appointed by the City Council in the case of Nogales vacancies and by the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors for those vacancies in the county. Prospective trustees must first submit bios or resumes and any other material called for to the board and may attend a board meeting before the trustees vote. The board will vote on potential trustees at the next month's meeting. The prospective trustees shall not be present during the voting process. Formal appointment by the city or county follows this process. That seems to clarify what happened. And so when I was working, I had worked on my version first before I discovered the packet, and mine is not quite as fleshed out as that. So I think that actually does satisfy the question about the procedure.
Right.
Now, there was one other item that wasn't...
Can I just stop
Yeah,
you right there,
sure.
please? Thank you, Nan. Nan's coverage of that point of contention there. Is there any board member that has any questions for Nan? Just on that subject that she talked about right now. Okay, I don't see any. Go ahead and continue now.
Okay, sure, no problem. Then on page 3, on the 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down where it's talking about the responsibilities of the president, vice president, and secretary, at the bottom of that paragraph, it says, the secretary shall keep a record of the proceedings of board meetings and prepare the minutes. And you, and Marcy, you had mentioned at the last meeting that is probably going to change because we're now
Right.
recording them. So what I did on my version was to simply add, after the secretary shall keep a record of the proceedings of board meetings, just add a sentence, minutes of the proceedings shall be recorded. And I don't know if that satisfies it or not, but
I think that we can leave that and prepare the minutes, because that's just a literal verbiage there. But Nan, you would be, not Nan, Mrs. Thwaites, you would still be responsible to proofread the minutes from Judith at that time to make sure everything is in order and went according, like I picked up some errors. But it would be your responsibility to get together and recommend to us the minutes are in order.
okay, so I guess my question, Marcy, would be, do we need to then change that original?
No, I would still.
Just leave it
I would
as it
still
is?
leave it like that because
Okay.
the actual preparation of the minutes is up to the secretary. But now she doesn't, you used to write it out and you don't have to do that anymore. We have somebody to do, but you would be responsible for the preparation of those minutes to present to the board
Okay.
as secretary.
Yes,
Ms.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on, Mr. Delson. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree with that, and I did find several errors, but you said she's going to correct them before we approve.
Yes, she is. But if you could get together with Anita so she can help you communicate, or when you get the minutes,
We need to wait till
Anita will get the minutes and give them to you, and then. you can
Gerardo
make-
gets back, right?
Yeah, and then she'll get them corrected before, so we don't have to take time. You'll
Right.
get all of that taken care
I
of.
agree.
And then you'll recommend, the minutes are in order.
Okay.
Okay, now, Mr. Delson.
Yes, her review of the minutes and the final approval would be the record for the meeting's proceedings.
Yes,
So it's not a recording that has to be in the technical sense.
no,
It's
Okay.
her review and any corrections or additions to the minutes, the final review, which will be provided for the board,
for the board.
but are reviewed by the secretary for that.
That's her responsibility.
That's the record that we're looking at, yes.
So,
Have you concluded, Mr. Delsey? Okay, now, Nan?
So what I'm hearing is we do not need to change the verbiage.
We don't need to change it.
Okay, all right, so those were the only two things I think there was also a question later on about election of officers, but the election of officers does not have to go through the city approval or the
Okay.
county approval. So as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't have to be changed, and we had pretty much reviewed everything else in prior meetings.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that these minutes are ready to be accepted.
Minutes or bylaws?
I mean, I'm sorry, bylaws.
Okay.
Thank you. To be accepted as they presently stand in the format that was attached to our meeting packet today.
Okay.
I would second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion by Nan, seconded by Mr. Delsey, to accept the recommendation that the bylaws of the Nogales, Santa Cruz County Public Library Board of Trustees be updated as of this date as presented. Discussion. Brian? What? Ed? Jerry?
None.
Nan?
Just one quick thing, if we're accepting these bylaws as is, are we going to sign them today?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
There's no further discussion. Anna, would you please take a roll call vote?
Yes. Dr. Varona?
Aye.
Miss, you can pronounce your name.
Nan Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Yes, back.
Okay. Mr. Jerry?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then Mr. Delsey?
Aye.
Ms. Marva?
Twaits, yes, aye.
Okay. And Mr. Bright?
Aye.
The motion is recorded and unanimously passed. Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to E, under discussion items. Update on Library District. Danitza Lopez.
Chairman, board members, I have called and emailed the county manager and have not heard back yet.
Okay, see if you can get something for our next meeting on that, to present something and see if the board is interested or not interested in the subject matter. So we'll wait for the next meeting so she can maybe get Mrs. St. John to come here and make a little presentation.
Yes.
Item 5 on the agenda, board reports. When you give the board reports are for current event summaries, must be brief, and there cannot be any proposal, discussion, deliberation, or legal action taken. So any board reports on current events. Brian?
No report, sir.
Mr. Waits?
None.
Mr. Delsey?
None.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Ms. Fitzgerald?
Patrick.
Patrick, I'm sorry.
Everybody does that,
Yeah.
no problem. Just call me Nan. I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. When it comes to board reports, it seems to me that if there is a question or an issue, if this is stating that there cannot be a discussion,
Right.
does that not somewhat negate the role of a board to air ideas and thoughts and discussions, proposals? If there's no discussion, where do we go from that report forward?
You can make a report and then ask, and then after you concluded with your report, when we get to future agenda items, you can say, I would like this subject that I brought up be listed as an agenda item for discussion at our next meeting. That way the public is informed of what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
So we're not negating any board member. The city council does it, the school boards do it, but it's limited. But that doesn't prevent you from bringing up and surfacing an idea or a thought and then saying, under future agenda items, I would like my presentation to be considered as a future agenda item.
Okay, but where does it, I accept that and understand that, but where does something like an issue or a problem or something that you want to discuss, does that have to be in a call to the public?
No. You have to know when the agenda is going to be established. If it comes after the agenda is published, then you have to wait for the next meeting.
Well, what about something as simple as a computer breach situation that you want to say that you had a problem with? Where does that fit into an
Well, if
agenda?
you want to just tell us about the problem, you can do it under current events.
Okay.
You can
Is-
say that there was a computer breach at this place, at
Okay.
that library.
Okay.
But that's it.
Okay, so this is a current, I can do that here?
Yes,
Under current events?
Just to tell us.
Okay, well, I just want to give a heads up to folks in using the Nogales email site. It is a public site, and just be careful when you're opening emails, because I had this incident, which I did tell Denitza about last night when I was belatedly opening a couple of emails. And it was an email from Denitza to me with a full, it was marked as, please see the attached full agenda document for the following meeting, for today's meeting. It was not from Denitza. She did not send it. Fortunately, my Google Mail flagged it as a possible phishing expedition. And then when I looked at the top, it said, no reply at iqm2.com, which is not, you received the same thing.
I just deleted it because I knew the email
Well,
address was wrong.
I did too. I mean, I opened it I didn't open it, but I printed the
Yes,
front
that's
page, and then I deleted it. But just be careful. Some of our board members are not, not as computer savvy as this younger generation is. So just be careful when you're looking at it. Look at that. I'll pass it around. Look at that top line whenever you're doing it. If it's a weird email, then don't open it.
Okay?
Okay, that's it.
Anything else? That's it now?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to item 6, Director's Report, A, Homework Tutors. Danitza?
Chairman, board members, I just wanted to let you know that the homework tutors were trained at the various desks at the Nogales Library. They have been shelf reading, and so far so good. They've been helping patrons. We are having a little hard time getting students to stay at the library. So we have sent out flyers to the local schools, and hopefully in the next month or so, or maybe in January, kids will start feeling comfortable enough to stay. That's with the homework tutors,
Just the homework tutors?
and that's it.
Hold on. Homework tutors, comments, questions? Brian?
None.
Nat?
None.
All right. Schweitz, none? Ed?
No,
Jerry?
no.
Nan?
No.
Okay, let's move on to NHS Career Fair.
Staff had over 500 students stop by at their table. They played some games, they gave some books. The books went away really fast. We had over 40 books that were given away. 190 cards were made that day. Info was given out about library services, and the survey was also given out. That's it.
Okay, very good. Brian?
No, no comment.
No comment.
Nan?
I think that's a terrific response. I did notice in your report that, in general, the library usership is still off because of reticence to come back to the library. I know that's not exactly the tutor part, but I guess it's just going to take time.
Correct.
Yeah, but good job on that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to move on to item 7, future agenda items. The only thing I have for myself for future agenda items is I hope you all understood the last update that I sent through Danitza, because I can't directly communicate with you through the email.
Yeah.
So please, if you're going to communicate with our staff, please do it through the city email, not with your personal email. I told Danitza not to respond to anybody with a personal email, because she has a legal obligation to respond only to the board through legal means. So please keep your communications with the staff through the city email address that's been assigned to you. Future agenda items, Brian?
2, one, I missed the October meeting, but I would like an update on the roofing project of the city building, of the city library. And item 2, I would like an update on the county's progress in the Sonoyta building, the status of the architect, any movement forward on that idea and project.
Okay. On the first item that you had the update on, I will have Danitza send you a memorandum on that, because we basically got that update, so I'll have her send you a memorandum. On the Sonoita building, we'll list that as a future agenda item, because I think that is a constant updated one that we want to stay on top of, to make sure the county doesn't think we're going to let it go by the side. Okay, so please, Danitza, send Mr. Vanderbilt an update in a memorandum form on the roofing, and the Sonoita building, we'll put it on the next agenda. Okay, Ms. Twaits.
I would like to be on there to give a final report on the raffle tickets and the.
Final report on
Yeah,
the final
Because
report.
I'll be turning it in before the next meeting.
Yo creo que van a poner meeting in December. Yeah, a meeting in December. Is that all, Ms. Twaits?
Yes.
Mr. Delsey?
I will just like to give an update status with the 501c3 for the Friends. And hopefully I can get all of this corrected with the IRS because of the original problems that we had when the old board surrendered its responsibility.
Anything else, Mr. Delsey?
That's it.
Mr. Smith?
Nothing.
Nan?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so we have 4 items there. We've got some items that we need to talk about. So our next meeting is scheduled for December the 8th. And so we'll work on that since we have these items there. Alrighty. Next meeting is December the 8th. And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Yes, Brian?
Are you going to pass around a copy of the bylaws for us to sign?
Yes, Nan will take care of that. She has it right here in front of her. So she'll be passing it around right now.
Hold on. Right, it's here.
We can do that.
Does that need to take place during meeting time? Before we adjourn, does that need to take place, the signing?
No, we can sign. We
After?
sign documents all the time after the meeting's adjourned, yeah.
Okay.
It's the approval of the document that's important. Okay, well, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:52. 10:52. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Vanderbilt, second by Mr. Smith to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?